you were telling your brother, Johnny Depp, to stop using cocaine, correct?
No, I wrote those words, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know that I was telling him to stop doing that.
Amber turns to me and she says, Johnny came by last night, he got violent. I say to Amber as I'm walking up, he hit you?
I specifically remember standing in her office where she leapt up out of her chair, put her face approximately 4 inches from my face as she was spitting in my face.
Have you been watching the trial this past week?
I've seen clips of it online, yeah.
All right, you're excused, ma'am. You can have your excuse.
That was a look back at some of the witnesses that testified during the first week of the case between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. We're now in week number 2, day number 4, and today things started off with some testimony from Depp's personal doctor and nurse. It was all done by videotape deposition. Now, Depp's legal team played that depo first from Dr. David Kipper, where he testified about an incident in Australia where Johnny Depp actually lost one of his fingers, according to the testimony. Take a look.
I saw him seated in the car when I arrived.
Did Mr. Depp tell you what had happened to his finger at that time?
Yes.
How long did you attend to Mr. Depp outside of the house?
Not long, probably a half hour, because I needed to get him to the emergency room.
So immediately after meeting him at the house, you went with him to the emergency room?
Yes, I cleaned his wound to the best that I could with the supplies that we had, and then took him. So it was within a half hour that we left.
Did you return to the house after bringing Mr. Depp to the hospital?
No, I was taken back to my hotel.
After you attended to Mr. Depp and before you went to the hospital with him, did you go inside the house?
No.
You did not go inside the property the day that Mr. Depp contacted you about his injured finger?
No, I did go into the house, as I had stated, that after I saw him initially, I went into the home to see the home.
And that was before you went to the hospital with him?
Yes, I went in to instruct one of the people with him to look for the tip of the finger, hoping that we would be able to put it back.
Was the tip of the finger found?
It was found.
Who found it?
I believe this man was their chef.
And do you know where he found it or where he told you he found it?
He said he found it in the kitchen area.
When you went into the house, did you see Miss Heard?
Yes.
And how did she appear?
She was certainly upset.
Did Miss Heard seek any medical attention from you for any injuries at that time?
No.
Did Miss Heard seek any medical attention from Miss Lloyd at that time?
No.
Did you observe any physical injuries to Miss Heard when you saw her that on March 2nd, 2015?
No.
So Miss Heard did not have any observable bruises that you saw?
That's correct.
And did Miss Heard appear to have a broken nose? Was Miss Heard's face swollen at all when you saw her?
Not that I was aware of, no.
Did Miss Heard have any cuts on her arms when you saw her?
Not that I can recall.
Did you recall seeing any cuts on her feet or any other part of her body?
I can't recall.
If Ms. Heard had appeared to have been injured, is this something that you would have documented?
Yes.
Did you observe any broken glass in the house?
Yes.
Did you tell what the glass was from?
No.
Was there blood around the broken glass?
There was blood around the home, as I had previously mentioned, but I didn't specifically see blood on glass.
Where did you see the broken glass?
In the kitchen area.
And that's where the finger, the part of the finger was found as well?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's just awful. So part of Johnny Depp's finger severed in this incident. Let me bring in my guest, criminal defense attorney, former prosecuting attorney, and former CIA officer. He's got quite an impressive resume there. He also teaches trial advocacy. Jack Rice on the show. He's in St. Paul, Minnesota. Jack, oh my gosh, these incidents are just horrific. Tell me what this bit of testimony tells you, please, about the dynamic that was going on between Johnny Depp and his wife at the time, Amber Heard.
Well, if you had to have a line for Johnny Depp, don't be afraid of the truth. Don't be afraid of how bad it makes you, how bad people may perceive you when it comes to your use of alcohol, your use of drugs, anything like that. This is about honesty and this is about truth, because what you get from this doctor is laying out exactly what he saw. That was pretty horrific. But then what he does is he starts to compare that to Amber Heard's injuries or lack thereof. So the real purpose here is to talk about credibility on one side and lack of credibility on the other side. This is about weaving those two together and showing the contrast side by side. This is a really thoughtful and very specific defense, if you will, and essentially offensive at the same time. And so to do both at the same time is a very fine line, but I think they're doing a very good job of it.
Mm-hmm. Right. You know, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the show, Jack. We certainly appreciated how you said, you know, you really have to lean into some of those very upsetting, very unpleasant facts, details, feelings, really make the jury understand what was going on in this dynamic that was without a doubt very toxic.
Oh my goodness, yes. And you're right. When we think about this, again, I'm thinking about this in the context of criminal cases because I'm walking in a courtroom dealing with them all the time. But the dynamic is similar, is that what you don't want to do is to be seen as minimizing or diminishing what happened, your role that you played in a case like this, because what that does is bring up a question of credibility. So now you're all of those other things and you're a liar too. And so the idea of leaning into this, accepting your foibles, accepting your limitations, accepting your faults, accepting your mistakes is really important. And I have to tell you, it's always amazing as a defense attorney. Sometimes I really do feel like a social worker. Sometimes I do feel like a rabbi or a priest. Because what I am doing is I'm talking to my clients about saying, it's okay to be who you are. It's important, in fact, to be who you are. And then to work my way through this. I feel like I'm taking a client sometimes and saying, I'm gonna take you through 20 years of therapy because we're going to talk about what we really not only need from you, but we also want the authenticity of why we need it. So don't fake it. Don't put it on like a coat. I need you to be this because this is who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, Jack, exactly. You know, sometimes we can score points by embracing bad facts. I think that might be kind of the lesson of the morning, if you will. And I can harken back to when I did my LLM at Temple University and then taught in their program. That was really one of the exercises that we did. It was, trying to take those bad facts, if at all possible, and get them on your side of the case. And for me, watching this today, I really think Johnny Depp's team is doing a fine job with that.
Well, it's about something else too, right? Because those bad facts are coming in. right? I mean, we all know that they're coming. And take the sting out now, because you know they're coming in. And more importantly, if you can characterize them the right way, what it feels like is the opposing counsel, when they come in and come at you, it almost feels unfair. It almost feels like they're piling on. It's like when you've been punched 10 or 15 times and they come on and punch you 2 or 3 more or 5 more, you could get a jury who could say, what are you doing? Why would you do this to somebody who's already acknowledged their own limitations, their own mistakes? And they can actually hold it against opposing counsel. So if you do it right, it's actually about helping yourself. That's true. It is self-serving. That's true. But it also limits the weapons that the other side has. And that's also incredibly important.
Ooh, that's good. Right. You know, if you kind of rob them of their ammunition, when they go, you know, to present, because this case, I mean, there's going to be so much back and forth. Get ready, folks. We're going to be here for it all. But right now, we're just in the plaintiff's case. Johnny Depp is the plaintiff on this case, and then we're going to have Amber Heard presenting as the plaintiff on her case, her counterclaim. So they're both presenting against each other. They're both defending against the other's claims. There's going to be rebuttal and surrebuttal and so much more, including Johnny Depp's testimony that might happen as early as this week.